Are the Golden State Warriors going to miss playoffs this year? Let's dig into that. Welcome back to the Deep Dig Sports Pod. I'm your host, Drew. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We're covering everything: football, basketball, baseball, all that good stuff. So right now we're basically getting into playoffs for basketball, and Warriors played the Orlando Magic last night. Draymond gets 2 techs in the first quarter, gets ejected. Steph was clearly distraught during the whole exchange. She's just kind of standing there next to Draymond, and he felt it. He knew it was coming. Chris Paul's out there yelling. Um, as Draymond walks away, gets that second tech, gets kicked out, and then it's on. Like, this is a young Orlando team that's good. Paulo Banchero, he's good. We really wanted Draymond to help defend him, and so basically for the Warriors, playoffs have started already. You were in a spot where the play-in was a given. The play-in was you're for sure going to get in. And then you drop so many games that you should win or you could win that you let a team like Houston back into it, where now you have to win. You have to win these games, and it's exhausting for Steph, a guy like Steph Curry, as a leader of the team, as someone who, when things aren't going right, he has to carry the squad. When Draymond gets ejected, he has to do more, and more gets put on his shoulders, especially with us having some really young guys in the rotation and being big role players for us. You're going to want Steph to, carry a lot of his experience into these tight games. But from going to, okay, we're going to coast into the playing games. We know we have a spot. We're not going to get to the 6, but we don't have to stress too much about not making the playoffs. Let's just get into playing games, get in there healthy, get in some momentum, and we'll go. Now you're going from that to every game is a must win. We are going to be exhausted by the time we get to the play-in game because the stress of winning these smaller games is just ratcheted up so much. The playoffs have definitely started for the Warriors, and it's crazy that it's a Houston Rockets team that is really pushing them to the edge. Jalen Green is starting to ball out of his mind. I mean, Sengun has always been pretty good for them, and they're over here posting on IG talking shit to the Warriors already. So looking ahead at the schedule, the Warriors have winnable games, but it's frustrating when shit like Draymond getting ejected in the first quarter happens, because these winnable games turn into tough games. And then those tough games turn into tough losses. And that's how you end up in these positions right here. It's already been a weird year where, Wiggins was gone for a while. Chris Paul was hurt for a while. Klay Thompson, his whole benching and not playing great. And then you got, Kuminga finally coming on. It's been an odd year for this Warriors roster, and it's starting to feel like it's fizzling out a little bit, where like 2 weeks ago I was feeling like, oh, this team can actually make a run here. They can make one last effort. And I think the emotion where you're seeing from Steph at the end of the game is not so much like on Draymond, but it's very much the weight of how many times do we get a crack at this? They're getting older. Obviously, Klay's contract situation is going to come into play. Now, Draymond's contract situation should definitely come into play, because if you're not going to be around, why are we going to keep paying you? Kuminga, is he going to be a building block for this team? Are they going to try to flip him for another star? So this very much could be the last ride for them, and I think Steph is feeling that. But he's going to be feeling that every season with this group, because it can only go so long with Klay getting older, Draymond keeping up the antics, I guess. And if he's on the court and locked in, he's amazing still. He's still great. He still can put up a triple-double. And I think that's the frustrating part. So looking ahead on the Warriors schedule, we have 2 really winnable games, the Hornets and the Spurs coming up. And then you have 3 games coming up where it's Mavericks, Rockets, Mavericks. And these are crucial games right here. Not so much because you're playing the Mavericks, but like it's a tough team that you're playing in the West. You want to get those wins. You want to stay ahead of the Rockets as much as possible. So if you could split games with the Mavs there and beat the Rockets, you're looking at pretty good position for the Warriors. Then we got the Jazz, Lakers, Blazers, and then we end with the Pelicans and Jazz. I think you can win 4 out of 5 of those. I think you should be winning 4 out of 5 of those. If you drop to the Pelicans, it's understandable. If you drop to the Lakers at this point in the season, I don't think you should be dropping that game. I think you need to go all out to win that Lakers game. The Jazz and the Blazers should be wins. Like, no excuses. You got to beat those teams. And if you do your job and you win those games, then you don't have to worry about the Rockets. You don't have to worry about them, breathing down your neck, because you did your job. You beat the bad teams and you got in. Maybe beat a Pelicans team that is a little bit better than you right now. We'll see. Maybe they're resting by that time. The Rockets schedule, they have the Jazz, they have the Mavs, Timberwolves, they have the Heat, Mavs again, Magic, Jazz, Trailblazers, Clippers. So I think the Rockets do have a more difficult schedule remaining for the Warriors. So maybe in about a week or two, we are seeing more of a separation from the Rockets and Warriors again, just because of strength of schedule. But I don't know if they get to the end where the Clippers aren't really trying so much. They beat the bad teams in like the Jazz and the Blazers. We'll see how they perform against the Mavs. It's going to be interesting because the Mavs play, I think, both these teams like 4 times in the next 2 weeks. Mavs are going to be a real tell of like where this race for the last play-in spot lies. But the Timberwolves should be able to beat the Rockets. The Heat, I think, could beat the Rockets. And that Magic team could beat this Rockets team. So with that being said, I'm not too stressed about it. But as the stupid losses pile up for this Warriors team, it's going to get a little more stressful. It's going to get a little more tight. And that's just playoff basketball. I think if this Warriors team can build up that little bit of a cushion, and then that last week be, a little bit, more stress-free, not worried about losing the last play-in spot, they can go in, win the play-in spot, and then it's a fresh start. Let's get into the playoffs. I think this team is good enough to win a playoff series, and then depending on how the matchups shake out, maybe win a second. I worry about, teams like Denver, the Lakers because of their size, but I think we could beat a team like Minnesota in a second round, something like that. It's just, can we get there? Can we get there, and how healthy are we going to be, and how rested are we going to be, and is Draymond going to be suspended? That's the big questions. But yeah, let me know how you're feeling about the Warriors this season, how you feeling about Draymond suspension, and like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.